to have a fireside chat over here. All of you know that the ecosystem partner of Jubilant Tamil Nadu 2025 is Startup TN, and he is the man behind that. So we are going to be covering various aspects of startups over here. I'm going to be asking the questions, and Sir will be answering them for all of us. So shall we quickly, directly move on to the questions, sir?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. So the first question is about the vision for Startup TN, Startup Tamil Nadu. So what is the core vision of Startup TN, and how does it align with Tamil Nadu's overall growth strategy?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me here, and special thanks to my good friend Satish. Like when you ask the vision for Startup Tamil Nadu or the startup initiative of Government of Tamil Nadu, startups are not a separate domain or a separate section or a separate sector. That is the next evolution of industry. So because in the last 50 years we are seeing a number of technological revolutions, and because of that our business models and the way of we doing business, way of we investing, everything is changing. So that is what we call simply as startup companies. There is a very big difference between the MSME and startups. Maybe we can talk about that. But startups, basically it is the next generation of industrialization. So having said that, if startup ecosystem or startup companies are such important, we need to have a great vision. So now Tamil Nadu is we have the largest number of industries and one of the hubs for manufacturing, and we are number one, number two in many areas of development. So we have set a vision of becoming top 20 destination in the world in the coming next to 10-12 years of time. And also in connection with our Honorable Chief Minister's 1 trillion economy, we also wanted to have a sizable portion. But startups are we have a definition. I mean, within it has to, the company should be below 10 years, and the early stage companies, all those stuff. So when it scales, it goes out of the startups orbit, so that we will create mid-size and large companies. But when we start, our focus is to start such powerhouses basically. So the innovation and the startup culture, and to have an ecosystem, and eventually to position Tamil Nadu as top 20 destination in the world. At the same time, it is not about unicorns, it's not about wealth creation for a handful of people. It is inclusive growth. As our Honorable Chief Minister used to say, Anaivarukkum Anaithum, that means everything for everybody, so that all our schemes, policies are designed to include geographies, includes gender, includes caste. So this is our vision in terms of startup ecosystem.
That's absolutely fantastic to hear. So you want to position Tamil Nadu in the top 20 countries globally. I always had this doubt, like after around 10 to 15 years, we can't call them a startup, right? They evolve to become something more. So you are going to provide an environment for the companies after that range also. And good to hear. So it's good news for all of you. Startup TN is providing an ecosystem for startups to grow and develop in Tamil Nadu and reach to the next level. And that is the vision. Actually, this is in continuation to what Guruji has also said, because he was saying that for everything, first what you need is a proper vision, and Startup TN has that strong foundation over there. Now coming to the development of that ecosystem, developing the startup ecosystem, the question is, how is Startup TN fostering a thriving startup ecosystem in Tamil Nadu, especially in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities?
Yeah, so as part of our vision, I told it's about inclusivity. So inclusivity, we often think about the caste inclusivity or a class inclusivity. The geographical inclusivity is also very, very important. Even if you take the development in terms of the number of startups, the quality of startups, it mostly depends on Chennai, or the startups are functioning in Chennai. So when we started this mission in 2021, The number of startups in Tamil Nadu was 2,300, and out of that 2,300, almost 78% companies were located in Chennai, and only the rest of 22% in other cities, including Coimbatore. But now, after 3 years, our numbers have, we multiplied 4x or more than 4x. Now we are 10,200 startups in 3 years. And, but to answer your question, when we were 2,300, Chennai's contribution was, or Chennai's, pie was 78%. And the rest of Tamil Nadu is 22%. Now, Chennai has come down to 56%. So that means the growth is spread because the numbers are high. So we have created 10 hubs across the state, and these hubs are located in different major cities like Coimbatore, Madurai, like Trichy, Hosur, Salem, this kind of cities. And around every hub we cover a couple of districts. So now out of these 38 districts, every district we have startups functioning. So that is one unique phenomena Tamil Nadu has. If you take any other state, the growth is centered only in the capital city, even in Karnataka. To some extent there are development in Mysore and Mangalore kind of thing, but mostly in Bangalore. But Tamil Nadu is the only state we have distributed growth.
I think that is a major change that Startup TN has brought up, because changing a 70+%, 70-20 ratio into a 50-50 ratio almost, right? That is an amazing change indeed. So inclusivity is one of the main areas in which Startup TN concentrates, and they are bringing startups in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and the numbers speak for itself, right? That is a great change indeed. And I think this model has to be, copied to all the other states of India as well, and develop the rural areas also. The next question is the support that you provide to entrepreneurs. So what specific programs or initiatives does Startup TN offer to help early stage entrepreneurs overcome challenges?
Yeah, so being an ecosystem developer, we have to work across sectors and also across stages. Stages means it is not, our mandate is not to support only existing startups who founded a company, but we also wanted to inspire companies, youngsters to start startup companies. So our work starts there. For example, we work with other institutions like, Non-Mudalvan under skill development, and EDI, another sister department under the government of Tamil Nadu. So, we reach out to colleges and, inspire students to think of entrepreneurship. This is where we start. Then when a company is starting, we give a smart card. The smart card has 200+ different services, starting from audit service to legal services to server space to digital marketing. So whatever that an early stage company is required, we negotiate with such service providers, and we provide at much cheaper cost when compared to their own. Whoever the vendor come into this smart card program, they should offer a competitive price to the registered startups. So this is one thing. The smart card is a very, very successful model where the startups can avail any services that is required for an early stage company at a very affordable, or at times free of cost also. So this we enable. Then subsequently, a startup means something new, trying a solution for a new problem, or improvising an existing solution. So it is, we can, in one word we can call innovation as something new, newness. So when you try something new that requires some kind of a, some pilot, to do some pilot or prototype, there are so many terminologies we can use. So for this, they need some seed funding. So there, we provide a funding scheme called TAN Seed. We provide up to 10 to 15 lakhs. Government of India also providing such amounts, so we are coordinating with those agencies. Then subsequently, for scaling up, we have 100 crore emerging sector seed fund through one of our another sister agency called TNI FMC. Then our own startup TN has a 50 crore annual fund for SC/ST founders. If a company is founded by an SC/ST community-based entrepreneurs, if they hold 51%, we invest up to 5 crores. And also we have a platform called TAN Fund, through which we have partnered with over 250 venture fund companies across globe. So for further fundraising, we connect these startups with them. Then quickly to cover other things, this early stage setup services, funding, then incubation. We have 124 incubation in the state, which is largest in the country, and through which we also provide mentorship. We have a dedicated digital platform called Mentor TN. Then subsequently, they need Market Connect. So Market Connect, if a startup company wants to sell to government, we are the facilitating agency. If they approach us, we will take to different government departments and also to corporates. And we do provide international market linkages. So we recently started our support desk in Dubai, and this year we are starting in Singapore and US. And subsequently, we'll be establishing our support desk in other potential cities across the world, mainly to provide market access. Then finally, the policy intervention. So we are the policy agency. So we often get, regularly we get inputs from various stakeholders, and we release the startup policies. The last policy we released was in 2023. This is a comprehensive service that we provide, under each and every category I mentioned. We are running 50 different initiatives or projects to create a good conducive ecosystem for startups.
Wow. So it's a comprehensive services from A to Z, from the funding to the scaling, to service. You have the smart card facility, which I think is going very successfully, to the policies, each and every aspect. Especially this is very important because the vision, you talked about innovation, something new. The idea may be there, but they would have absolutely no idea as to how to take it forward. So that is where your role comes, and very heartening to know that you're providing comprehensive services, and even international Singapore has been set up to provide them support there as well. Now, having covered the area of helping the entrepreneurs out in starting the startups and scaling up, we come to the role of the government. Now, you mentioned earlier about our Honorable Chief Minister Stalin talking about a $1 trillion economy. Now, as far as the role of government is concerned, how does the Tamil Nadu government collaborate with the private sector to accelerate innovation and entrepreneurship through Startup TN?
So I told about we have that 124 plus incubation centers, and most of these incubation centers are located inside private engineering colleges or universities. So this is one major avenue that we work with, because every incubation center is the first point of contact for any aspiring startup. Then also we are trying to establish more and more incubation centers. Recently we launched pre-incubation centers mainly for tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 towns where there is no incubation facility. So we provide like a 25 lakh grant, and in the coming 2-3 years we wanted to establish 100 incubation centers. Like that, we have, recently last year we came up with a center of excellence model, where in some tech areas, agri-tech, marine tech, like that, like a couple of technology areas, we are creating center of excellence, again with private partnership. So all these models, the government will not provide the 100% funding or 100% contribution. We have a tripartite model, where government will be one part, and the institution, the academy will be one part, and a company or an industrial association will be the third part. So the missing link so far is that government is funding to the institution directly, but the industry linkages or expertise linkages is missing. So we wanted to bring that as an integral part of our program, or our incubation program, or center of excellence program. So this way we wanted to enable this model, so that there is kind of a stakeholder engagement will be very, very vibrant and dynamic. Yeah.
Yes, so as far as the government's role is concerned, they are partnering with the educational institutions for the incubation centers and providing fund to the educational centers. Now, where we need more participation is from the industry side. Okay, so that is the government's role. And now we are talking about all these aspects, but what attracts us more or what motivates us more is when we hear success stories from these areas. So what are the key some of the key success stories that you can share from your experience? You said this started in 2021, right? So some success stories that stand out or have emerged under the Startup TN umbrella that you can share with all of us here?
See, there are hundreds of stories across different sectors. And you know, like one major criticism for Tamil Nadu is that people used to say that, you know, we don't have many unicorns, right? We do have unicorns like, you know, Freshdesk and Zohos and ChargeBee, 5-Star Capital, Cred, or some couple of unicorns are there, Unifor. These are some 5-6 unicorns we have. But mostly, you know, the Tamil Nadu ecosystem is more stable. The failure rate of startups also very, very low. So, I mean, if you ask me, you know, big stories everybody knows, you know, like the Freshdesk or Kissflow that today, you know, you were talking about Suresh Savandam, his company is a very successful company. Like that, there are some big stories are there. And recently, you know, like in different sectors, even, you know, like one of the recent investment that we did is a company called Orbitide. This Orbitide is a company which is working on in a research to refuel rockets on the space. In the entire world, only 2 to 3 companies working in that space. And this is one company from Chennai. And, you know, we've invested, I mean, around 5 crore in that company. Then subsequently, they raised the second round of funding very recently. So this is one unique company, you know, that comes into my mind. Then, you know, all these Agnikools and E-Plane from IIT, you know, these are some very unique and first of its kind in India. Also in agri tech space also, there is one company I would like to refer, is called E-Sandai. For the first time, you know, they've cracked the agri supply chain problem. Very successful company, very, I mean, funded company. So that, you know, the farmers getting, you know, the right, you know, money amount was a problem for a long time. Many companies tried, many startups tried, they failed. This is one company after so many years, they cracked that model and doing well. So like that, you know, there are many companies, I would say. In want of time, I'll just limit with these two.
The first company that you mentioned has raised my curiosity. Refueling space rocket fuel reminds me of Sunita William, who's still stuck in space, right? Yes. And so farmers always do protest, saying that they're not getting the correct amount of money. So these kind of agri-startups, tech startups, agri-tech startups will definitely make a big difference, not only in that region, but in India's economy as well. So happy to hear about those success stories. You have already spoken about the importance of inclusivity in Startup TN based on gender, caste and geography. So here is a question based on that, the focus on inclusion. So how is Startup TN working to ensure inclusivity, such as encouraging women entrepreneurs and startups from underrepresented communities?
Yeah, so as our Honorable Chief Minister always used to say, the Dravidian model. So for me, Dravidian model is more, I mean, beyond political and social aspects. It's all about inclusivity. It's providing equal opportunity to everyone. That's a simple definition of this Dravidian model. So this percolates or this manifests in every aspects of this government, not sparing startup policies also. So, I mean, like I would say, we have programs and schemes for first, you know, geographical inclusivity, every nook and corner. Even in this coming financial year also, we are coming out with more intensive programs to cover the rural areas, rural entrepreneurship, rural startups. That's one area where we have hubs and spokes in all across the state, so that for the startups, it's very easy to, you know, reach out to our offices and get things done. This one. And number two, the woman entrepreneurship. So we have created a separate, facility called Tea and Rice, a separate entity for supporting women entrepreneurs, not only startups, but also starting from SHG, the self-help group. Because self-help groups, many self-help groups, they do some very, very nano kind of activities. Then we have to move them to micro, then to small. In between, we'll find an innovation and make them startup. Because in micro and small, it is a traditional way of doing business. When we call them startup, only when some infusion of innovation. So this Tea and Rice is trying to do that. And this is again, we are partner with, it's again another sister department, kind of an offshoot from these initiatives. So for women, not only this kind of an exclusive thing, the government is also planning to come out of many incubation facilities with woman-friendly facilities, like the creche inside incubation center and other counseling centers and everything, all for women entrepreneurs. Also, we provide even in our TAN seed, the normal grant amount is 10 lakhs. If it is a woman founder startup, we provide 15 lakhs. Also, there are, I told hundreds of incubation centers. If a woman entrepreneur goes to an incubation center, they will charge. They will charge a membership fee and also an annual, co-working space. Up to 2 lakhs per year, we reimburse that money. So, yeah. And also, I'm telling you, I told you that, currently we enjoy 10,000 plus startups. Almost 50% women founders. Yeah, so that's something, we can be proud of Tamil Nadu. 50% of startups are women founded. Then to conclude this, not only geographical inclusivity, not only women inclusivity, we also go beyond that, the caste inclusivity. We have a special fund, first time in India, a 50 crore annual fund to support SC, ST, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe entrepreneurs. We've created 5 startups from scheduled tribes. So tribal startups. Very soon, you will come up with this. And this year we'll be launching, and the GO is getting ready. In another month's time, we'll be launching a special startup scheme for transgenders and differently abled. So this is the level of inclusivity that we think. None of the other states have even thought about this kind of an inclusive model.
Actually, sir, the statistics of the other states are very sad to even talk about as far as women entrepreneurs are concerned. They form a very small percentage, and I'm so happy to hear that in Tamil Nadu, out of the 10,000 plus startups that you're saying, 50% are women entrepreneurs. That is absolutely amazing. That deserves a big round of applause. And it is only, I think, because of the efforts, the inclusivity that Startup TN has come up with. And it's not only about women entrepreneurs, may it come to rural areas, may it come to so you're also planning on differentially abled, transgender equality. That's absolutely amazing. Feeling very positive for the future. And talking about the future, we would like to ask about the future plans of Startup TN, the future outlook. So what are the next big milestones for Startup TN, and how do you see its role in making Tamil Nadu a global startup hub?
Yes, see, as I started, startup, there is a myth or confusion in understanding the terminology of startups. Many think any company that is new is startup. In a way, it's okay. It's a linguistic way, it's okay. But a real startup is, by definition or by understanding, there should be an element of innovation, a newness, a solution to a new problem, or a improvised solution, an intensively improvised solution to an existing problem. So this knowledge, we have to, reach out to the MSME sector and also the aspiring startups of what is startups at the first instance. So starting from this intensive, literacy programs, and also the mindset change, recently, one of our partners, they are launching a television program also called Startup Singham. We are happy to, support them. So that is kind of a program, it is coming in next 1 or 2 weeks time. So like that, we wanted to change the mindset of youngsters from job seekers to job givers. Then we need to have a very dynamic investment ecosystem here. So we are trying to create or support venture fund companies from every city, at least the 5 major cities in Tamil Nadu, so that every city will have its own venture fund supporting ecosystem. Then every hub will function as a kind of a startup incubation center, not only for startups but also the other stakeholders. For example, for a mentor, say for example a person who is working in a corporate, he wants to contribute to the startup ecosystem. He may have the intention, but he may not personally enter into a startup world, or he may not start a startup company, but he may want to support other startups using his knowledge and experience and expertise. So we are also trying to encourage those people by creating a mentor ecosystem in every city. Overall, the final thing is, the market connect is very important. One of the weakest area for Tamil Nadu based startup is marketing. We don't talk about our own achievements, our own, credibilities. So we also, wanted to, create many marketing programs for our startups, and also a separate focused incubation center. First of its kind again, we'll be launching in coming May. May 3rd and 4th, the same venue, we are going to do the Global Startup Summit. Again, from Coimbatore. We initially intended to run that in Chennai, but now we moved to Coimbatore. This will be a very high profile, high budgeted event, and it's going to happen in the same place. There, we wanted to bring in all global players, global ecosystems, and connect with Tamil Nadu ecosystem. So we are thinking of many, because ecosystem cannot be limited with 2-3 aspects. We should talk about funding, we should talk about expert guidance, we should talk about market connectivity, we should talk about ecosystem connectivity, we should talk about research and development, we should talk about policy intervention. So we have many things, wanted to take good best practices from global best performing cities, and we don't want to compete with our sister states. Still, we are in race with some other successful states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Gujarat. But our intention is to, match with the global leaders in the coming few years' time.
That's very good to hear. So your eyes are not on a national level, it's on an international level. You are looking at taking it to a global level, and that is why we are having a Global Startup Expo in May, right?
May, yeah.
In the same venue itself. That's amazing to hear. So that is for all the aspiring startup entrepreneurs over here. And so you have a well-planned vision goal for the future, I understand. So it starts from the very grassroots level, right? Making people understand what exactly startups are. Now, when you were talking about the women entrepreneurs, you talked about having self-help groups, then the nano, then the micro, then the startups. So every small aspect, from the funding to the policies, everything is going to be taken care of, and a proper plan has been laid out. And I think we all together have to wish all the very best for the Global Expo that is coming in May, and I hope all of you will be a part of that as well. And with this, we have come to the end of our set of questions. I have to see the timer to check whether there is any time for questions from the audience. There is 1.5 minutes left. So audience, any questions from your side? Any doubts you have on startups, on the startup ecosystem? Yes, there is one doubt. Can we have a mic passed on to the gentleman in the front?
You said some of the failures in the startup. So what kind of development plans or something kind of from our government perspective, any ideas or anything to motivate them to re-innovate that failure people from the startup? Because many of them, they not have that sufficient skill set. They have ideas and the fund from the government is supporting, but somewhere they are lacking to develop more. So do you have any plans in place?
Yeah, see, failure is a very common thing in startups, mainly because I already shared, because they are trying something new. So anything new, sometimes the market may not accept. The intended market may not accept. Then it becomes failure. The other, in my personal experience working with hundreds of startups, the other major reason I see the co-founder conflict. So initially they start with a positive, like arrangement and positive, mindset. But over a period of time, if you look at in my personal experience or my I do part of an angel network called Native Angels. So out of our failure stories in the companies we invested, most of the companies failed because of there is no synergy between the co-founders. But beyond that, that they don't focus on the right market or right timing and all. This requires a great amount of mentorship, and sometimes mentorship also leads to in some cases the well performing startups getting into some kind of a confusion when they meet a wrong mentor. So I don't advocate mentorship will work for everyone. So you need to identify the right thing. So this increasing the success rate, or in other words decreasing the failure rate, is a very, very subjective matter. And the startup founder, not the company, the startup founder should have that perennial curiosity, to continuously go in depth, because now building companies have become intellectual process. So you need to go depth to identify the scope and the scale. So because there are three things that now people used to talk. When you want to build a startup, you need to identify the scope for your product, the right market, the potentiality of that, whether you have a market share. Then you need to have the mechanism and strategy for scaling. To have both these plans and strategies inside you, you need to go depth. It is about, all about thinking, discussing, and, exploring different things. This depthness is what missing with our startups. So we wanted to, create very unique programs and implement through our 100 plus odd incubation centers on developing this mindset of entrepreneurs, mainly in terms of depthness and also on marketing. These two intellectual components is what, driving them to either success or failure. So this knowledge gap has to be filled. This is one of the understanding. There are many small things.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That is actually a very relevant question, because from what I hear from the statistics, out of 100%, 90% of the startups end up as failures or do not succeed. So that was a very relevant question, and I think with that we have come to the end of our time slot. Yes, it's showing 0 with big red letters. So it was an absolute pleasure, sir, to have this fireside chat with you. And we have gone through all the aspects of startups. So on behalf of all of us over here, thank you so much.
Thank you.